The day the divorce papers were signed, I stepped out of the courthouse in Columbus, Ohio, feeling as though I just watched my own life slip away in a quiet ceremony. The sky hung low and gray, pregnant with rain that refused to break, while the wind sliced through my coat like it carried a personal grudge. I paused at the glass doors and caught my reflection, a stranger with sunken eyes staring back, a man I no longer knew. 9 years with Rachel dissolved in under 15 minutes in front of a judge who hardly lifted his gaze from the paperwork. But it wasn't the judge's dry pronouncement that broke me. It wasn't Rachel's cool, wordless departure. It was what came afterward. As I descended the wide stone steps, Rachel's younger sister, Vanessa, hurried after me. Her heels tapped sharply against the concrete, urgent and unsteady. When she drew close, she leaned in, her breath warm against my ear despite the chill. In a voice that shook, she whispered, "Be my husband." I stopped cold. For a heartbeat, I was sure the wind had twisted her words. Vanessa had always been the soft presence at family dinners in Cincinnati, the one quietly stacking dishes while Rachel held court, debating everything from taxes to travel. She was the one who once slipped me a cold glass of water at Thanksgiving when she saw the exhaustion etched into my face. Gentle, thoughtful, almost invisible. This felt wild, reckless, utterly out of place. I stepped back without a reply and kept walking to my car. My fingers trembled so violently I fumbled the keys twice before unlocking the door. In the rearview mirror, she remained at the top of the steps, auburn hair lashing in the gusts, eyes locked on me as though she'd just cast her final hope into the void between us. For weeks afterward, I tried to stitch together some version of normalcy in silence. I rented a small one-bedroom on the edge of Columbus. The apartment carried the faint, stubborn scent of worn carpet and solitude. Nights blurred into staring at a silent television screen, replaying every quiet failure of my marriage. Had I buried myself in work too deeply? Had I failed to truly listen? Did love carry a hidden shelf life I'd been too distracted to see? Rachel and I hadn't exploded, we'd simply drifted, two lives unmooring from the same harbor with no drama, only the slow ache of separation. Yet Vanessa's whisper lingered. It drifted through the empty rooms at night, soft and persistent. 3 weeks later, my former father-in-law, Thomas, called. His voice sounded friendlier than I remembered. He asked if I'd come down to the house in Cincinnati to mend the old porch railing. "You always knew how to fix things," he said gently. I wavered, but I said yes. The drive felt like traveling backward into pain. The crooked oak still stood in the front yard. The porch swing still groaned softly in the breeze. Crossing the threshold, memories rushed in so fiercely I had to brace myself against the doorframe. Vanessa sat at the kitchen table, cradling a mug of coffee. Our eyes met, and for a long moment, silence held us both. No fire in her gaze now, only raw openness. I worked on the railing while Thomas observed from a lawn chair, talking quietly about retirement dreams and fishing spots he'd never visited. When the job was done, Vanessa walked me out to the car. Golden late afternoon light washed over everything. She didn't echo her courthouse words. Instead, she offered the truth. Rachel had relocated to Seattle with someone from her office. The marriage, Vanessa confessed, had been unraveling far longer than I'd allowed myself to admit. She'd noticed my loneliness years before I had. That whisper outside the courthouse, she explained, hadn't been born of betrayal or forbidden desire. It had come from fear, her own diagnosis of a serious heart condition. She was terrified of facing it alone. She craved steadiness. And in me, she had always seen someone trustworthy. Her candor hit harder than the whisper itself. I drove back to Columbus with turmoil churning inside. Anger flared, at the cruelty of timing, at the tangled mess of it all. But beneath that, something unfamiliar stirred, a faint sense of direction. Over the months that followed, Vanessa and I started talking. Not in shadows or secrets, but openly. We met halfway, in quiet coffee shops and parks strung between Columbus and Cincinnati. We shared stories of regret, of fear, of the strange intersections life draws without warning. I came to understand how Vanessa had always felt overshadowed in her own family. Rachel shone bright and bold, Vanessa remained the quiet anchor, noticed only when she faltered. One evening by the Ohio River, with the sun melting into the water, she clarified what she truly meant that day. Not a conventional marriage, not possession or replacement. She meant companionship. She meant standing beside each other, not in defiance of the past, but in recognition of what remained. The notion still frightened me. Tongues would wag. Rachel would rage. Old friends would pull away. Yet the larger realities, time, fragility, the brevity of certainty, began to shrink those fears. Vanessa's health dipped subtly at first. Small signs, nothing catastrophic, but reminders that every day carried weight. One snowy winter evening, chest pain sent her to the hospital in Cincinnati. I drove through the storm without hesitation. Seeing her in that stark white room, so small against the sheets, something inside me clicked into place. Not pity. Not vengeance. Not desperation. Simply love, steady, patient, forged in shared scars and quiet understanding rather than wildfire passion. We took our time. We spoke to Thomas first. He surprised us both, tears in his eyes and a weary smile. I always knew you were solid, Christopher, he said, hand firm on my shoulder. Rachel learned later. The initial messages burned with hurt and fury. Over time, though, even she seemed to accept that lives continue moving forward. The following spring, Vanessa and I married in a modest chapel just outside Columbus. No spectacle, no elaborate vows, just a small circle of friends and Thomas in the front pew. As she walked toward me, she didn't appear to be claiming someone else's history. She looked like someone finally stepping into her own. Our marriage wasn't flawless. Hospital stays punctuated our days. Fear crept in during quiet hours. Yet there were also midnight bursts of laughter in the kitchen, spontaneous drives to Lake Erie, mornings cocooned in blankets on the porch I'd once repaired. 2 years on, the doctors delivered unexpected news. Her condition had steadied beyond what they'd hoped. The treatments held. Her heart grew stronger. Now, when I remember that gray afternoon outside the courthouse, the whisper that once seemed insane, I see it differently. It wasn't impulsive. It was courageous. Divorce had felt like an ending etched permanently. But it was merely a page turning. Vanessa didn't rescue me from emptiness. She revealed that even shattered pieces can form something enduring. If this story stirred anything in you, even a flicker, please take a moment to like it, share it, and leave a comment. Your support carries these kinds of tales to others who might be standing on their own courthouse steps, wondering whether the story has truly ended. And one small request, if you believe love can sometimes arrive disguised in the softest, most unlikely moments, drop the words, "second chance," in the comments below. Because sometimes the person who's lingered unnoticed in the background is the one who truly sees you. Sometimes one quiet whisper can redraw the map of an entire life. That day in Columbus, I walked away from a marriage. But I stepped toward a partnership I never imagined, one built not on what was lost, but on what could still be found. In the end, that whisper wasn't an ending. It was the beginning.